Still on the road. Here we go.
Yo, what's up? This is Splendid Radio on PharcydeTV with my co-host Jeremy Scipio.
What's going on, people?
And a very special guest, Mr. Keenan Baker.
Yo, what up? What up?
What's up with you, man?
Shit, just cooling, man. Just enjoying life, man. Relaxing.
Yeah, I like your art in the background, man. You have some nice anime. It looks like a young brother in a very zen position and pose.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite piece of artwork right there. I saw that and I was just like, man, and I think I was like getting heavy into my meditation game. And I was like, man, I wish I would have had this when I was younger, man. This would have put me in a different way.
Do you know the artist or who the artist is?
Yeah, his name is I don't know his full name, but I think his Instagram is like BArt or something like that.
Okay.
I can like if anybody needs that, I refer other people to it because they love this. You know, people see it in my background, they love it. So I'll send him like his IG so he can like get some sales and stuff like that because he does great work.
Nah, that's tight. Nah, it looks, you know what I'm saying? It looks tight.
Nah, so, young man getting money when he buying art on the low. Hey. I see, King. Yeah, that's a flex right there. The no jewelry, but the art collection. Yup, that means that's the 8-figure top.
No, this is pandemic money. That's what that was.
Nah, that's tight. So, where were you? And to your recollection, what was the first hip hop song that you ever heard?
Ooh. Damn.
Stop on the first question. I know the first rap. I know the first song you heard. Dragon, watch the dragon balls. You know.
I mean, it's crazy. I heard early NWA, to be honest. Like even though my dad's from the East Coast, he's from New York, and he's a New Yorker to the core. He had NWA straight out of Compton, and I remember him letting us listen to that in the living room, and I just remember us just just rapping it, and of course we had to go when the cussing that came on. It was like straight out mother name Ice Cube. We had to censor ourselves, but like. I remember him playing, and I was just like, this is crazy. The sound, the sonic of it was just incredible. Ice Cube's pen game was just, to me, he's in my top 5. So,
nah, that's dope. That's dope. It's funny. I was watching best of I forget the name of the podcast, but it was the Matt Barnes podcast. And they had Ice Cube on there, and they were talking about Kobe. And it was interesting to see how passionate he was about Kobe. Like, he really was like me. I'm from LA. I have a very difficult time with the teams because I feel like the Raiders, I had a separation anxiety from them because they bumped out on us. And then same thing with the Rams, separation anxiety. They bumped out on us. You know what I'm saying? Come back, want that love. But the Lakers, I never had separation anxiety, but I felt like when we had Shaq and Kobe, the team was just really all about Kobe and not really about Shaq like that. And I felt like the team wasn't playing the best as a team. And then I lucked up and went to a Clipper game. And I saw the Clippers play, and I kind of felt like they played like a college team or like a team, like they played well together as a team. They weren't as skilled as the Lakers, but I kind of was like, shoot, Clippers games are cheaper. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of adopted them as the team as they, they've had their ups and downs. We got OG Kawhi, but this season, I don't know.
I mean, I think you stated it correctly. They're a college team in the NBA. They'll never win. I'm a Hornets fan, so the Hornets are terrible too. But I mean, I'm from here also, and I grew up watching the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? I grew up watching, Nick Van Exel, Sedell Street, Cedric Sabalos, all those guys. And the Clippers are just they are until they get probably their own arena. And I get your own arena, move out of LA, move to San Diego.
You know what, Jeremy? Mm-hmm. That was my fault, man. I pulled a wild card, man, and he reversed it and twisted it all back up on me, man, and talked crazy about my Clippers.
They're terrible, man. Like, I don't know if they're cursed or not, but it's one of those things. Like, I feel like I don't know. I don't see them winning. I just feel like there's something about that team that is just like they're not going to win. For maybe it's like a little brother, little brother syndrome, to where it's just like we're here we're the little brother of the Lakers, and we just can't get over that hump. I've never beat him. I never beat my older brother before, and it's been 37 years for me. So I understand. I'm the Clippers of my family. That's what I am. You know what I'm saying? So
the equivalent, Jeremy, is if we had a guest and he said, you know what, man, Nas is trash, man. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you're all entitled to your opinion, but I don't think there's a person on this earth that has that opinion. So
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's not real. Those people
you might not like Nas's music in a sense, but to say he's actually trash, I mean, we have to look at the parameters what we're talking about with this trash. Is it lyrical? What are we talking about? Because that's not true at all.
I would have to judge the person. I say, what do you excel at all? Like, where's your accolades and Grammys? And if you don't, but anyway, let's not do that.
Well, come on, man.
How do you feel? How do you think hip hop influenced the entire world?
I mean, and everything, the way people dress, the lingo, the style, the flash, like, I think hip hop in general is just it's a culture for real. Like, just like I know it might not seem like it, but because it's a newer culture, but it's a culture that even other people from other countries are adapting and mimicking, you know what I'm saying, copying. So I think it's probably one of the biggest influences in the world, to be honest, when it comes to music, for sure.
That's tight. What's your favorite genre of music?
I'm a hip hop guy. I grew up early, man. Like I was early into hip hop lyricism, and I grew up on the Wake Up Show. I love freestyles and battles. I used to battle rap.
Oh snap! For real?
Yeah, my favorite rapper was Chino XL growing up when I was younger. I was into Razzcazz, all that. Like,
so you West Coast, man. I didn't know anything about Chino XL. Only thing I knew about
he ain't West Coast, he from Jersey.
But the fact that like I'm like this, only thing I knew about Chino XL was that Tupac dissed him right after he got finished dissing Biggie, Bad Boy. Yeah. So that regular motherfucker.
Understandable. Yeah. But but Chino was a lyrical animal. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, like I had a few of his albums, you know what I'm saying? My battle name was Keno.
I was just about to ask. What was your rap name? That's funny.
My rap name was Keno, Khino. Okay.
Can we look that up and see any are you on with the Smack DVDs or anything?
No. I was doing so back then it was rap battle forums. Yeah. So it was like you were going there, you had to like write your verse.
Whoa, where were you at?
What was it called? Like rap.
Yeah, something. I remember that, bro. That's crazy. You talking about like 2001 and 2. Like around that time, right?
Like maybe early 2000s. Yeah, early 2000s, maybe late 90s, but early 2000s. Ooh. And yeah, I was like on there battling people, and I was handing cats L's, and I was like me and my brother and myself, like we were like heavily into battle. We watched a lot of battle rap. So for us, like, and we battle rapped at school. We used to be like, all right, tomorrow y'all two battling. So people be sitting there, all right, the whole day at school, you're looking at somebody like, look at their whole outfit, all right. Then you come back to school and you got to have your verse. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna date myself, but I'm gonna say this because I feel I need to. So 50 Cent, well, it's obvious that Eminem was a battle rapper, but 50 Cent was a battle rapper. And like Dr. Dre, people gotta give, like, they give Dre the credit for like the Chronic and the Snoop stuff and all that. But people gotta give Dre credit for taking these wild beast battle rappers and teaching them song structure and how to really make hits. Like Dr. Dre's production made Eminem make hits where he didn't make songs before Dr. Dre. Like he rapped, but he didn't make songs. And the same with 50 Cent.
I mean, I didn't look at it from the 50 Cent perspective. I knew he was a battle rapper, but I never looked at it from that perspective of what you're saying, because me and my brother got on Eminem early. We had my brother used to be on these secret sites where you can download thing that you wasn't supposed to download at the time. And and we like downloaded the Rap Olympics, you know, when LL hosted it, and it was like Eminem battling everybody. Like we was listening to early Eminem unreleased songs that like nobody had, that you can only find like on those sites. We would like recite the verses from like all that.
Have you ever heard Eminem's first album? Infinite.
Yeah, I've heard Infinite. I haven't heard it, listened to it in a long time, but back then it's like, yeah, we heard all that stuff. So like, I mean, I never thought about it that way. He literally took like traditional battle rappers, and made them
nobody ever
multi-platinum diamond selling artists.
I have a question for both of y'all before we continue. Do you consider dissing, like a diss rap record, the same as battle rap?
It depends. It depends, because you can just get, in my opinion, you could just diss somebody and you could just diss them on you know, in a song, and you're just dissing them. Or your ears could hear what my ears heard when I heard the number one, I'll say the best diss record ever made. And I think that it could have, and he was a battle rapper too, calling out names, Corrupt, when Foxy Brown broke his heart with DMX, and that fool went off.
The only X I know is Exhibit and RBX. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think if you look at somebody like recent, Drake is one of those guys that made hit songs and he would dissing you. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't necessarily a battle rap. He was like, to me, he's one of the better people at doing something like that, him making a hit song but still dissing you in a hit song. It's just like, I feel like Drake is like, he's funny because he's like, I'm gonna still go platinum off you. Like, I'm gonna diss you, but I'm gonna still make this a hit. It's gonna be a multi-platinum album or track, and then
you're leaving one part out though. You're leaving one part out. He's performing those songs. He's not necessarily rapping those songs. He's performing. He's performing.
You mean that he's not writing it? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is, when you have Drake's and you have Kanye's, and they're going into the studio and they have a vibe, they have about 4 or 5 dudes that are dope writers in that room.
That's what you mean.
And they're listening to the beat and they're vibing, and Kanye's giving his input, and they're all writing it together, versus an artist going in versus a Nas, versus a Big Daddy Kane, versus a whoever. Dude, you got your pen, you got your book, you writing the voodoo, and you know.
You don't think Drake wrote back to back by himself? That would be so ironic. I mean, why would he not write that song? What I would say about Drake, that's the song that was like a rebuttal to saying, hey, you write, you have other people writing for you. Like, no, I don't. Hey guys.
Hey, man.
I feel like it's hard. It's weird because it's like Drake got the whole, because you know he got a song or two or a few songs written by somebody else, but he's also written a whole bunch of songs for other people himself. But I would say, yeah, and it's tough for me to sit there and say that everything now is tainted because somebody helped him write something, or like, and also what is writing? Like if you go and give me the whole verse, that's writing to me. But if I'm sitting there rapping, you be like, oh, maybe you could say this, or give me an idea. To me, that's not helping me necessarily write. I can't give, me personally, I wouldn't give that credit. Maybe from a financial standpoint, but like I might give you a credit in that sense so you can get paid if you my homie. You know what I'm saying? But like, I wouldn't say that's actually helping writing. I don't think any artist writes all their whole song by themselves. It's not possible right now with a hook.
It is very possible for people to write their own music.
What I'm saying, from the hook to the bridge, most people aren't writing a whole album and doing that by themselves. You look at the credits.
Very possible for people to do that. But at the level that Drake and Kanye are, you don't really see that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying, we used to have albums back in the day and look at the booklets. It was very rare on a 16-track, an 18-track album that it only had, LL Cool J, Todd Smith. They'll just have Todd Smith.
No, you're right. It'll have like 5 or 6 names, and like you only hear 2 voices on the record. So you're like, who are all these other people?
And sometimes it's some sampling, right? If you sample a track, they got to give those writers credit for the song. So I understand that, but it's like when I listen to rappers and I give rappers credit for writing their verse, I don't care about them writing the hook. You know what I'm saying? If somebody else wrote the hook for them, I'm not necessarily tripping on that, because it's like, you know, that's just me personally. Like Jadakiss is like an all-time top lyricist. Jadakiss ain't writing all his hooks. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and that's fine.
Jay-Z wrote Snoop and Dr. Dre's parts to the song.
On Still Dre. Yeah.
But look how long it took for that to be revealed. That's only been revealed in the last 2 years.
But that's the same with Jadakiss. Jadakiss was always a superstar.
Well, hold on. I'm saying like we're giving people credit for writing, like you're saying. But I think what he's saying is that the majority of these people who are getting credit for being solo writers are not solo writing. It took look with that example that you just chose. Nobody would have thought that Dr. Dre and Snoop had that written by Jay-Z. That information is 3 years old at the best for a song that's damn near 30 years old.
Right. And what I'm saying is, like I said, for me, it doesn't take credit away, because I think what is really important to those particular MCs, right, because they consider themselves MCs or lyricists, right, is the verse, right? Is the bars, the double entendres in the verse. It's not necessarily in the chorus. It's like, you know, if Jay-Z's in there rapping, he's rapping his verse, but I guarantee you, if he's in the studio with Timbaland or Pharrell, they're helping construct that chorus and the melodies for that, and being like, nah, say it like this, or like add this to it, and maybe use that instead of this word. And because they actually produce and help construct songs.
I can also see Jay-Z going like, nah.
Oh, I can see him denying. I can see him denying some stuff too. For sure.
Hey, you know, it'd be dope if you did this. Jay, no, for real. I can hear your voice saying this. He like, nah, I'm gonna do it this way.
But here's the thing. But somebody like Pharrell, you trust, right? Like somebody like Pharrell, he's made multiple hits.
I think that's who. I think with that it depends. I think it really, because put it this way. You have Pharrell and the Neptunes, definitely high-level producers. You know, they came in late 90s to mid 90s into the 2000s, just doing every single thing. Dude, they produced the clips. I'd love to see what that writing room was like, and that production room and all that kind of stuff. Because I could Pusha T is one of my favorite MCs, and he's a very strong and a very confident cat, just period.
I didn't know that.
And I could hit, dude, the only thing that people get sick of him is his content. They're just like, come on, man, can't you rap about something different?
I don't care. I want coke rap all the time from Pusha. Right? That's what I want. I go to him for that.
I'm with you. There's so much passion in his music when it comes to that, man, that you just it's kind of like, dang, you know what I'm saying? But
get back in. I was gonna say, what city specifically did you grow up in?
I grew up mainly in the Valley, so San Fernando Valley. I guess I can't pinpoint it. So I'm a military brat, so I kind of just jumped around a lot in SoCal. But I grew up mainly, you know, went to middle school, high school in the Valley. That's where my roots are pretty much. It's like if you want to, people consider me, I would be considered a Valley boy. You know what I'm saying? I say LA, of course, because it's just like I don't got time to explain that to niggas that can I cuss on here? My bad. I don't know about
you. You good.
Oh, yeah. Valley boys up, man. You can do what you want, bro.
I'm 20 minutes from the zoo.
Yeah, and it's like, but I don't have time to explain to niggas that, you know, LA and the Valley, how this is different and how it's similar and how there's this and that. I don't got time to explain to you to that. It's like this. I'm from LA, man. If I'm going to New York, I'm saying I'm from LA. You know, I ain't gonna say I'm from the San Fernando Valley, because they're gonna be like, what's that? And we're like, all right, it's LA County. It is. It's LA culture still, you know, but it's just like it also has a little bit of its own kind of culture.
It also has the Burbank airport that's a little nicer and a little more expensive.
Yeah, it's a lot smaller too. It's way more expensive to fly out that bitch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's tight. I give a shout out to the Valley, man. I've spent many evenings and afternoons up at Versailles off of it runs the same way as the freeway, but a little Cuban spot out there.
Yeah.
On Ventura?
It might be Ventura. It's on a street that runs the same way as the freeway. But yeah, Versailles Cuban food. Check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Versailles, they got a bunch of those. They got one I think on Venice.
Yep.
Yeah, and they got a few. I think one on La Cienega too. Yeah, Versailles good.
Pico.
Yeah, Pico. Yep. I was gonna say dang, I forgot. Whatever.
Yeah. Nah. So basically what I like to do, Keenan, is I like to build the guest up with Jeremy as a person. That's why we just went into hip hop. I felt like everybody can kind of identify, with hip hop a little bit. But when was the first time that you realized you had a talent for making people laugh?
Elementary school, man. It was one of it's a typical, talk too much in class story. You know what I'm saying? It's like I just enjoyed it. I love making my peers laugh. I love seeing if I can make the teacher laugh. That's where I got my enjoyment from. That's what I was always good at as a child. My academics were, I guess, always solid. But like once I got to like middle school and high school, I started to struggle because I was like, girls came into play. So you try to make the girls laugh so you can get the girls. You know what I'm saying? So, that's for me. It's just like it came from that. It's just when I was able to make my dad and my mom laugh on a consistent basis, and they're from New York, they're from Bed-Stuy, they're I don't want to say no nonsense, but like kind of, you know what I'm saying? So like when I was able to make them crack up, laugh out loud, I was like, okay, I'm funny. So
yeah, I didn't know that I always associated you with LA. I didn't know your parents were from New York. As long as I've been knowing you,
my parents are hardcore New Yorkers. Like my dog. This is a quick short story. When my brother was having like his engagement party, she was meeting. You know Blako, right?
Yeah, of course.
So Blako came out to Kentucky to my brother's engagement party, and this is the first time he ever met my mom. And my mom was like, Blako had this chain on, and she was just like, man, I just want to snatch this nigga chain off his neck, man. He wouldn't be able to walk around my neighborhood like that. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, stop. That's like, what? She's like, I just want, like, he walking around like he cocky. I just want to snatch it off his neck. And I was like, but this is what I grew up with.
Man, that's weird, dog.
She was dead serious. Got him stuck in his chain.
What is wrong with people these days?
So for me, I feel like my brother and I are like two different people, right? I feel like I definitely took on more of the LA side, if anything. Yeah. And my brother took on more of the New York side. Like he loved rocking Timbs. He loved the East Coast slang. He was very heavily East Coast when it came to like a lot of other stuff. And I was probably more, I definitely did rock with the East Coast for sure. But I would say like the way I probably kind of carried myself, I would wear Chucks, you know what I'm saying? Like that. I like that stuff. So
yeah, my mother's from Brooklyn too. And being from Cincinnati, a lot of people took culture more associated with the South. But Ohio in general is different because it's influenced by everybody, you know what I'm saying? And then also, a lot of culture originated in Ohio in general, but I didn't know that until later. The whole West Coast sound came from the Ohio players, and a lot of people, like even the Isley brothers are from my actual neighborhood, Lincoln Heights, originally. But I was jealous that my family is from New York and I wasn't. So I always would play up the New York traits when I had no attachment to New York whatsoever.
That was my brother. It was just like we were out here. And my brother was just like, he'd be like, shun, he'd be like, yo, I'm just like.
I didn't go that hard. I didn't go that hard, but that's funny.
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, like you said, it did the West Coast sound was funk. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so they took that style and they sampled it and they tweaked the voices a little bit and they was heavy sampling funk back then. And so that essentially molded the early West Coast sound, Dr. Dre at least, and Snoop Dogg and all those guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like I said, I found out way later just doing some research on, when I say research, I mean YouTube. So, what was the soundtrack to your middle school, your middle school experience?
Damn. Man, that's a hard one, dog. I can't pinpoint a full soundtrack, but I say like we was battle rapping. We loved just like hip hop. I listened to a lot of Cannabis.
Cannabis, yo,
he's definitely battle rapper, battle tested mentality.
Yeah,
well, it costed him though. He could have had a good career if he wasn't into it so heavy.
Well, I think there was some kind of weird. I mean, with him and Wyclef, I think he didn't do that particular connection well. I think they had some probably differences in there, some creative differences, and it didn't work out for Cannabis.
But that's common. That's common. Everybody break up with their first little situation. Think about how many people came from Diddy. 50 Cent came from Diddy. Jadakiss came from Diddy. Jeezy came from Diddy. Shoot, Jay-Z was working with Diddy. Everybody, they fall out and they get their real deal later. But
that's true.
They get their real deal. But Cannabis, LL was too big, man. He did some behind the scenes stuff like, yo, if you play his record, I ain't working with you.
And I mean, that can affect you. So if we're going through,
no, you pick Cannabis. All right, next question. No,
but I would say,
I'll play.
But I would say, hold on real quick. But if we talk about Cannabis, you gotta understand, Cannabis was a little kitten, and he's coming up to the tiger.
Yeah,
and I don't know how much of it was embellished or not, but LL, it was something where Cannabis wanted the mic, or it was and
that's.
But this is the thing though, like me, I've been starstruck before. For sure, I've been like, man, and I've been around some people, not to be like that, but I've been around some people, but it's more musical people that get me starstruck versus actors and all that kind of stuff. And I know what it is. Like, man, I asked somebody for a picture like about 3 weeks ago, and they was just they was on another place. They wasn't even tripping off of that, but not on some being cocky type stuff. He was just, his mind was, he was just somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? But
I feel you. I asked Tony Baker for a picture last night, and that nigga took off. I'm kidding. I'm putting flavor on it, but still, it's funny.
He didn't take off. But I say that to say, when certain people are around people, like me, I just asked for a picture. Homeboy was talking about making some music with somebody else, and so that was their conversation or whatever. He wasn't rude or nothing like that. It wasn't nothing like that. But he wasn't going to stop. He wasn't going to stop to take a picture versus what he was talking about, which it was some potentially, it could have been something huge, kind of just whatever. But whatever. But I say that to say, that was just a picture. It was whatever. I was, still, we was all kicking it or whatever, so no big deal. But you take Cannabis, you put him around LL Cool J. He's younger. He's really looking at LL Cool J as a rap god. You know what I'm saying? And
for sure.
Okay, I'll give you the perfect example. Michael B. Jordan, after he did the last Creed, I want to say he said something like, man, I could be Roy Jones Jr. He said something that was absolutely ridiculous, but he said it because he had trained for Creed and he felt like he was, he felt like
he trained for Creed, but when you get into a ring and have to spar, it's a different ball game. That's a game you don't want to play.
No, but what I'm saying is, you can get the feeling. You could be the kitten. You know what I'm saying? And you can get like you can have certain milestones in your life that can make you feel like, oh man, I could. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but Roy Jones can't stop Michael B. Jordan's career. That's why he can talk that. I think what's the chick that dissed Beyonce and messed up her? Carrie Hilson. That's a good example. Because Carrie Hilson was about to be a superstar, and she dissed Beyonce, and that was equivalent to what happened to Cannabis.
But it was like, and the Cannabis thing was kind of, I don't know, it was weird, but it was like, you know, I remember that it was a 4-3-2-1 verse. It was like that. It was that song, and it was like, you know, the symbol of my arm is off limit to challengers. You swing the Russian sword, I swing the Excalibur. That was like LL, but I felt like Cannabis at first was just like, yo, it was on some like, you know, on some like, yo, I like you said, you're the guy. I rock with you. Like this is all pretty much me saying it. I'm respectfully coming for you, but not in a disrespectful way. And I think LL probably took it. I don't know.
Absolutely.
I asked him, of course. He
did.
Like, who this little nigga? Bro, you a little dude. Don't you ever come at me. Don't think I gotta make these love songs for women that I ain't that guy still. And I met LL one time. LL's a big motherfucker, man. Yeah. Like he's not a small guy still. So you a little guy like Cannabis coming at him, he probably that was like bro, I'll smash you, bro. You tripping.
He took it, LL took it too far, but hey man, you know, you gotta tread these waters lightly, you know what I'm saying? When you don't ever know who you offend. You offend the wrong person. That's in the 48 laws of power.
Yeah, and it's like back then too. You didn't have the internet where you can keep putting out content and you could probably still do well without the industry. Right. It was just like at that particular point. I remember people were, you know, making fun of Cannabis, but like, oh, he in the army now. LL sent his ass to the army, to the reserve. Man. It was just like, damn,
man.
You know what I'm saying?
He
was
want
like
to fight for his country. He has so much in him. You know what I'm saying?
And you gotta understand. To me, this is the guy that met Buckingham Palace. You know what I'm saying? Cannabis was that guy that was just like he was rapping this. He was an animal. So it was like I remember that happened. I was like, man, I'm on Cannabis side. And then I think it was a song that LL put out called like Rip the Jacker or whatever it was called.
Yep.
And I was just like, okay, this nigga's not playing. Yep. He's not playing with this guy right now. And that was a crazy diss song. And then I think it was over after that.
I went to the Nas Wu-Tang concert probably like a few weeks back. And, you know, I judge a concert by pops. Like, what is the biggest moment the crowd went nuts? The biggest pop of that evening when LL came out and did that verse.
He did that verse?
He did that verse. Wow. He came out. Nobody was expecting it. It's crazy. That was one of the best concerts I've ever been to in my entire life. It might have been the best. I'm not 100% sure, but I've been to some good concerts. That one was like, when I mean, look, I could, like, literally everybody came out. Method Man was a surprise guest. The Method Man came out. He brought out Mary J. Blige, surprise guest. Brought out Redman, surprise guest. And then he brought out LL. That was crazy, bro. That was crazy.
The fact that LL did that verse in particular, to me, is crazy. I would never expect that verse to ever be done besides for that song, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, it was insane. It was insane.
So, Keenan, since you're in the battle rapping, dang, what's Homeboy's name? What's the dude's name that was on? He was on Vlad a lot. He had the one more time.
Daylight. Yeah.
So, you know, he's, you know, I didn't know him before Vlad. You know what I'm saying? But I knew that he's a funny guy. You know, like a cynical guy. But battle rapping. He's wake up show style battle rap. I mean, like a real battle rapper like that. And then it's just like kind of his persona thing that's on Vlad.
I mean, to me, he's one of the best battle rappers to do it. And yeah, like he's respected by the culture, by all those guys. And and I'm a big fan too, because he is nice and he is a West Coast guy. He's an LA guy. But I mean, he throws some anime. He be having anime bars, man. He throwing some Dragon Ball Z bars in there, bro. I think he came as Vegeta, and his boy was like Nappa. They dressed him as the Saiyans, and he battled a nigga. It was killing. So like, he was like, he got people was trying to like come at him a lot of times for like he's like they were saying like he's trolling or he has antics, but I think he's a very highly intelligent dude, and he might do certain things to kind of throw you off. But he's, from what I've seen, he seems like he's a very intelligent guy. Like, just off his bar schemes, it's crazy. It's like watch some of his battles, man. While he battled, I think one of his battles against King Los.
Yeah, my brain, I have a certain amount of capacity for people like that. And even though I understand he's talented and intelligent, I wouldn't I could never talk to him directly. You know what I'm saying? This is a lot.
You probably could. You probably can, if you talk to him directly, you probably can get more out of it. But like probably watching him, probably like, I can't listen to this nigga. It might be harder to listen to him, but if you have a conversation with him, you probably be like, yo, I had a great conversation with this dude.
Nah, that's exactly, dude. I've been around people like that, man, where you like what they do for entertainment is one way. So you have this thing fixed in your mind and you talk to them and you're like, dang, I'll say this. We go back to daylight, but I'll say this, dude. The smartest rapper I've ever been in the presence of, Vince Staples, dude. He's very smart, man.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's really smart. Like what you get on interviews and all that kind of stuff. The dude is like very no nonsense, and the way his mind thinks is almost at like an intelligence level where he probably had to dumb himself down most of his life, because he'll just, and it's not him being cocky. You know,
tell me about it.
He nah, for real. He's talking, and it's just like, damn, how does this, how's this younger dude know this? Like, dude, he's really know, and it's like where, like I've heard him say things where my mind would maybe process it or think to the left or right, and he's like, this is stupid. Why is it, why don't? And then you listen to him, you thinking like, well, damn, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, yeah.
No, I vibe with Vince. I look back to daylight, and I hear you guys, but he said some things that once you are capable of saying these things, I don't have nothing else to say to you.
You talking about all the Diddy stuff he did?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just like, oh, okay. You ever get to a point in the conversation with somebody like, yeah, you're right.
But I also feel like that type of stuff to me is just like, also seeing, can you break the internet? And that's what those interviews did too.
Yeah, you're right.
A lot But that's how I feel with it. It's like those like, I feel like those guys.
It worked,
huh?
It worked.
Yeah. So I take it for what it is. I take it for what it is. I can I also I can separate the art from the artist in most cases. So it's like, yeah. I
understand that too. Before we move on, I still like you to give your answer to the question.
What was the question again? I forgot.
3 niggas talking. No, the question was the soundtrack to your high school experience or your junior high school experience.
Oh, what album pretty much was that? I mean,
what songs? What songs were going on at that time? That were.
Biggie's Life After Death album was popping at that time. Like I said, who else? I mean, at the time, Cannabis. Who else? Common. Early Ice Cube, Capone Noriega. Who else? I mean, early Master P, man.
Ooh.
Early Master P. I mean, Make Him Say like that was that's when the South came on the scene. Early J.
I forget, a lot of friends of mine in comedy, specifically like the group that we was like pushing up with are like 2 years older than me, which and nowadays times is nothing, but back then, like I feel like I was a kid, like legitimately, like I wouldn't when Master, like some of those things came out. So when you're saying it, like you were like,
yeah, we was listening to like Raz Kaz, I forgot, was it Soul on Ice and Rat Assassination?
Yeah.
Like,
dang.
And for me, I it's crazy. Like I'm with you over here. It's like I was kind of like starstruck. Like I used to work at the movie theater in Winnetka, and Raz Kaz, he came in there a few times, and I was like, he came with the.
I grew up with Raz.
Oh, see, to me that's like, I'll be like, man, yo, Raz.
Didn't we have him on?
Yeah,
we had him on. We had him on.
Well, I'll say this: I didn't grow up with him. Well, he lived in the same neighborhood as my cousin. So I knew him from like 13 years old on up. And he was just like a really athletic. He was a little guy, but he was very athletic. And then he danced. And then when I met like Brown and all that kind of stuff, from me knowing him from afar and just kind of seeing him up at the high school and all that kind of stuff, we got cool. Then we went to junior college together. But I'll say this though, I had no idea he would become the rapper that he became. Like he wasn't like, I'm not gonna say it came from the left, but as dope, like he used to dance, and he was in this group called he was in the Scheme Team, but it was something soul. I can't remember the name of it. But like Raz used to, he could like he was gymnast. He could do like acrobatic stuff. So like that was kind of his thing. He'd do flips and run up walls and all kinds of stuff like that. But when I heard other people like in the music industry kind of thing, like in the early 90s, like how they would talk about him, I'm like, damn, that's raising. Like that's, you know what I'm saying, whatever. But whatever he did it to the level of where I've seen him get major accolades from like KRS-One and stuff like that. And so for me to look at a guy from Carson and be like, damn, this is a dude from Carson that just like, he kind of was, you know, from where we're from, and he developed his skill to the level that was kind of amazing to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, to me, Nature of the Threat was one of the most wild and most powerful songs. And I listen to that song every year just to hear the knowledge and bars he was dropping. He was saying some just very, especially at that time, you know, I guess people now that Kendrick's Kendrick, you know, people try to say like he was like an early Kendrick. But I mean, essentially, he was like, I guess he was for sure before Kendrick in that sense. You know what I'm saying? He was somebody that like was going toward that trajectory, and then whatever happened, you know, happened. But like, the Nature of the Threat was just like, I remember for me and my friends, we were just like, dog, I can't believe he's saying this stuff. Like, I didn't even know about any of this stuff. He was giving you history, and we're just like, nigga, it's making you question religion. It's making you question where we came from. It's making you all that type of stuff. It was.
No, I'm sorry. I'll say this. What they don't give him credit for, and it's crazy because Raz is a dude that are like kind of like, you know, if he gets into something, like he don't hold his tongue too much. Like he'll kind of like, if you get him like that, he'll do whatever. But I'm sure he's done a lot of ghostwriting, man. A lot of ghostwriting. Like, dude, he was part of that Dre camp. That was like kind of one of the amazing things too. Like to see a guy from the area or whatever, like, I don't know why it just never took off with Dre like that or whatever, but he was really part of that Dr. Dre inner circle type of thing too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'll say, did you know the Golden State Warriors? It was Saphir, Raz, Kaz, and Exhibit. They had a group.
Yeah, and then I think there was another group. Was it the Horsemen? The Four Horsemen? I think it was Cannabis, Raz, Kaz. Was it Coogee? Might have been Coogee Rap. I forgot somebody else.
I've heard the name. I'm not sure who's.
Yeah, the Horseman. Or maybe in Corrupt actually.
I think Corrupt.
Yeah. But I remember they had. I remember waiting for that album. It just never came. But like, you know, those guys. Yeah, man. I mean, bars. It's like, I love the East Coast and the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? West Coast. I mean, they're trying to get West Coast that just funk and it wasn't lyrical, but like they had their guys. Corrupt. I mean, Corrupt's from Philly, but still, we claim him.
He's been out here long enough. You know what I'm saying? He done gang banged harder than the hardest gang.
He West Coast got us. That's just how it is.
It's Cannabis, Raz, Kaz, Killer Priest, and Corrupt.
Killer Priest.
Yeah.
Killer Priest. Yeah.
The Horseman. They actually dropped that. That's crazy.
So Keenan, what did you think your path was going to be? Like your senior year of high school. What did you think you were going to be doing after?
That I was going to hoop, baby. I was like, I was trying to get my mixtape, my little mix CD together with all my highlights, and yeah.
For the listeners, for the watch, yeah, exactly. Tell me,
5'9" wasn't gonna happen, player. You know what I'm saying?
Muncie Bowes, man. You could have been
Spud Webb, man. Spud Webb.
Muggsy, the reason I'm a Hornets fan is because of Muggsy Bogues. Muggsy Bogues is my favorite player growing up. So that, you know,
I bet he was.
But it was like, you know, it was because he was small, but also too, I mean, I guess I consider myself regular height, not necessarily small, but like, but I always felt like I was able to compete. Like when we played competition wise, whether it was like, you know, street ball or on the court, we always competed with guys that were way bigger and way better, at least competition wise. And we always hung with them or beat them, especially like off the court. You know what I'm saying? We did some like, you know, like me at the particular park, whatever case may be. This at Janesta, we go over there and we smash cats over there. So it was just like, you know, I never looked at height until I started getting around like real, like professional players. I was like, oh, there's like, I'm not athletic enough. You have to be Nate Robinson, Spud Webb, like you said, to be around those giants.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I had hoop dreams, man. I had hoop dreams like everybody else. Comedy got pushed away, man. I told a story a few times, but like I had this 10th grade teacher, and me and one of my closest friends still to this day, we used to always be in there cutting up, clowning. And I used to get sent out of class like almost every single day. And I remember one day she pulled me out of class, and you know, her being a Black teacher, she wanted to see her young Black students become something, you know, more. And she's just like, you know, I don't think y'all need to be, Black people don't always gotta be entertainers and rappers and stuff like that. Like, do something different. You don't gotta be Eddie Murphy, Keenan. And I remember saying, I was like, I don't want to be Eddie Murphy. I want to be a businessman. And I remember my boy was just like, you mean an entrepreneur, nigga? What are you talking about? Like, there's no businessman in college. You can't study businessman.
That's a real one in your circle.
For sure.
That's a real stuff.
And then shout out my boy Rick. And I was just like, whatever. And then so I remember when Blake was the first person, as Jeremy knows Blako. He was the first person to start doing stand-up when I was in college. And you know, I would go watch him, but I wouldn't perform because that was still in the back of my head.
I think I keep forgetting that he started comedy before you.
Yeah, he started.
I think he told me.
It might have been like a few months, and he was saying, and he already connected with Ronnie Ray, which is like, you know, a big brother to both of us. Me and you.
Before.
Yeah. So like, you know, for me, you know, I would go and watch him and Ronnie at open mics, and I'd be like, man, I'm gonna start on New Year's. That's what I'm gonna do. When New Year's come around, I'm gonna start. And I was just like, wait a second, I don't ever follow through with any New Year's resolutions. So I was like, let me just start here. And I started December 2009. I started in December 2009. Jeez. And from then on, man.
Yeah.
Just putting in work.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we classmates. I started April 2010.
And once you came back around, it was like, yeah, everybody, you know, we know what it is. Everybody came up. The Marty's crew is what everybody was calling it.
I was mad. Y'all was going to Marty's. Y'all was leaving Ha and going to Marty's and stuff. And I didn't know where everybody was going. So when I found out, I was mad. I was like, y'all was doing all this here?
Yeah, that was Ronnie Ray. Ronnie, we all started at the Ha. So we did the Ha first, and then, you know, Ronnie, I think something happened between Marty and the owner of Ha.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Ronnie was like, yo, take me over to the spot over here, little bro. All right, he's like, man, this gonna be the new spot, man. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be the new spot. He called me KJ. It's gonna be the new spot, KJ. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He was like, we're gonna be over here.
Do you used to go by that?
Yeah, I used to go by KJ.
Yeah.
I used to go by, my middle initial was Ham in Spanish. So Jamon.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Hamon, yeah, it's Ham in Spanish.
Jamon, man, Jamon,
yeah. I say Jamon. Some people say Jamon, Hamon. But yeah, that's what got me into comedy, is watching them. And then I think the second day I got my joke stolen. And Ronnie Ray called me up. He was just like, hey, Keenan, man, you know what's crazy? It's crazy, man. You know, it's funny how your jokes is here, but you ain't. And I was just like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, a nigga up here doing your jokes right now, man. He doing your whole dad bit. And I was like, what? And I couldn't get up there fast enough, man.
I will say your father material is very unique. You know, there's some jokes that I feel like every comic tends to have, you know, because like, you know, obviously you're not the first person to have a father or an influential father in their life. But I say one of my favorite jokes of yours. I'm sure you don't even do it anymore. But was the
oh yeah.
If I see anybody do anything close to that, I'd be like, I don't know, man. You must have.
Man, yeah, it's like, yeah, we always appreciate, it's funny. Like I said, I always feel like when it comes to compliments, I'm like, oh yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
But it's like the dad material, even that all the dad material that I have, I feel like I haven't fully polished it the way I want to, the way I know it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. There's some material, like it was people like Ronnie Ray and like Tony and those guys, they heard some of that stuff early, and it was just like, that's your bread and butter, that's your gold. Mm-hmm. That's what's going to make you the money that's going to make you famous, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But every time I tell a joke, it's good, but I'm like, this is not it yet. So that's why I still tell it, because I've been telling that joke. I've been telling my dad material for years.
Yeah, man.
Not necessarily one you just said, but like my, Joe story about jumping my dad or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I still haven't. I know it's not as polished as it should be.
Yeah.
But once it is, I feel like it's gonna be out of here.
Absolutely. What job do you feel like you experienced that gave you the best life experience?
I guess I would say Home Depot.
Right.
I hated it, man.
You worked there for years.
Like 9 years. And I would say it was really more the store I was at. I can't necessarily say the company Home Depot, which is just super, super horrible.
Which one did you work at?
One in Canoga Park.
Oh, okay.
So it was like the one off like Roscoe and like near DeSoto. So like in the valley. So I learned like there's stuff I didn't like know there. Like when I went into building lumber, and I didn't know anything about building a lumber. I didn't know anything about how to build stuff in 2x4s, and I knew the basics, but it was just like I didn't know you use pressure treated wood for certain things, and you 90-pound bag of concrete, and for you go grab the siding over here, use siding for this, and this is how you stucco. I didn't know any of that stuff, going into that. My dad was a car guy for the most part, you know what I'm saying? So he showed us how to like work on cars and stuff, and I didn't pick up on that either, to be honest. I was like, girls, but like that taught me some life lessons. It taught me patience. I almost fought a lot of times with customers there. I almost fought with managers there. Like literally took off the apron. I know that's not masculine to say, but snatched the apron off and squared off with a few caps.
I don't know what the 2x4s are, man. What?
How far were you from Pacoima?
Canoga Park was on the opposite side, but I mean, I was in Pacoima a lot because, like one of my friends, Ricky, that I told the story about the businessman. He stayed over there a lot. He was one of his grandmother lived over there, so I would go to his house a lot, or I go pick him up so we can go to when we transferred to Dominguez Hills. I'll pick him up and we drive to Dominguez Hills, Cal State Dominguez Hills for classes. So I was in Pacoima a pretty good amount.
Yeah, man. Everything you talking about, that behavior, man, that sounds like something straight up out of Pacoima, man. You know what I said? I had no idea what Pacoima was, man. And I met a girl at a Cal State Northridge dance or something like that, and she stayed over there, and I had no idea what I was going into.
The class. I mean, you had the Pacoima Power Bloods over there, but you have all the essays over there too, and they wasn't messing with us. So when we used to go over there, you had to be ready for anything and everything.
On point, yeah. Let's just say I never went back. Had to be. You understand me?
One and done, huh?
She wasn't that far. Facts. Nah. So how were you able to incorporate like your love for anime into your career?
I think I'm still doing it now. It's like it's funny, man. I look at the guys like Supreme Dreams, RDC World, and those guys. They're like
RDC World, man. He's probably the lead in that.
Yeah, those guys were doing what I felt like my friends and I should have did. Because we're a little bit older than those guys, and when I remember watching them, it was just like it was definitely inspirational, because it was just like, they talk about how anime, how I always talked about it. It was just like I always say, like, I guess it's kind of weird to say, but I was like, I'm a nigga who watch anime. That's just how I always viewed it. I wasn't like super nerdy growing up, you know what I'm saying? But it's like I watch anime, I watch Dragon Ball Z, I watch Ronin Warriors and stuff like that growing up as a kid, and trying to implement it now. It's my merch. You know what I'm saying? I have some jokes here and there about it, but also try not to force it either, because I feel like it won't come across as it'll come across as phony if I try to force it into everything I do when it comes to if it's in my work, it's like I'm wearing it. Like I either wear it in my merch. A lot of my jackets that I wear on stage now are like kind of anime jackets. So you'll see it through that. And if you don't see it through my jokes, you at least see it through my clothing for sure.
Yeah. Can you please explain how your taste in anime has devolved since you're such a big fan of Dragon Ball Super?
I was with that. I mean, look,
no, I hate Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah,
I freaking tried, dog. I cannot.
Me and Sid have had a few conversations. He's just like, bro, this shit is just, for me personally, like,
people like, why not?
But to me, it's really certain arcs. It's like the Goku Black arc to me was dope because that was the first arc that came back with Dragon Ball in a while that had like somebody dying in it. It was like there's stakes now. Dragon Ball doesn't have the stakes. Oh, Dragon Balls, wish them back. Everybody died. Wish them back.
That's not true, but I'll let you slide with that.
No, I mean at a certain point, like in Super now, it's like right now in Super, it's just like if anything happens, it's like, oh, just go get the Dragon Balls. I want to be taller. Go get the Dragon Balls. I want to get some food. Go get the Dragon Balls.
You saying it's like that now? It's not like
that.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay.
I mean, yeah, you look at the movies, it's like Bulma wants to be, Frieza wants to be an inch taller. Now he doesn't even want, eternal life anymore. Bulma wants to look like 10 years younger. It's like that's why it's ridiculous now.
And obviously, this is definitely a me you conversation that will go along.
Yeah, I see you over there. He's just like, I don't even know what's happening, bro.
It was, but just to keep it really small, addressing the Goku Black arc, I appreciated it. Up until the merge happened, the fusion thing. But up into that, I thought it was interesting, and then them reincorporating Trunks. That was cool. Still don't like the blue hair. I know.
We grew up with the purple hair, and he's my favorite character. The blue hair grew on me. I will say it grew on me, but it was one of those things like for that particular arc, I didn't like how they didn't give him the W. I feel like you went back to his universe, he had to go get it done, and he pretty much gets it done, but then it's eternal life, so he can't necessarily get rid of him for real. It's like, let him have it, man.
Yeah.
So it was like, that was a little whack to me, but other than that, I feel like that arc was like top to bottom, one of the best arcs in all of Dragon Ball, the whole Dragon Ball universe, in my personal opinion.
So with your merch, what made you, what gave you the inspiration to do that besides, I mean, of course it's Dragon Ball, but it's like you're going hard push in this direction, right?
Yeah, man, because what, merch is it's hard to find something that like sells itself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like every time my first shirt was like a drawing of me as a stick figure. You know what I'm saying? And that shit wasn't moving at all. I wasn't doing no unit, baby. So like I had to find something. I found like I got the Your Story Matters shirts that I normally, that's normally my merch. And then the hats are fairly new. And it was one of those things like, incorporating that. Dragon Ball Z is probably the most recognizable logo in a sense to people that don't even watch anime like that. But they at least be like, oh, I heard of Dragon Ball Z or whatever. So it's the most recognizable when you first see it. And then the way the KB looked on there, it just looked right. It just looked good. And then the colors, I got orange, purple. I got I got the Goku orange. I got the Gohan Piccolo purple. I got the Vegeta blue. You know what I'm saying? The Boo pink. So it's like I just incorporated the Dragon Ball colors on top of it. Yeah. Okay. But the ladies, they pink fly off the shelf for them. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So
segueing into like the road, like obviously you sell your merch on the road. Like, what's the you feel like, how would you describe the experience being different from doing comedy in LA locally versus doing comedy on the road and being more like the, I guess, business side or whatever too?
I mean, when from an audience perspective, I feel like you're just dealing with more everyday 9-to-5 workers that want to come have a good time. Like, you are their entertainment for the weekend. You know what I'm saying? Whereas LA is just like, everything's their entertainment. They can go get entertainment. They can go get all entertainment. They can go to a hip hop show. They can go to an R&B show. They can go to a rock show. They can go to a comedy, magic. They can go to anything. When you go into, these other cities, they have some of those things too, but not to the extent of how LA or New York has it. So when you go there, I feel like a lot of times, and they're paying for it, it's like, all right, we want to have a good time tonight. And they come ready in a lot of cases. Mm-hmm. So to me, for sure, the shows are funner, and also so you get more time. And LA is a showcase city. It's just like, you got 5 to 7. Show me what you got. And it has to be about you or your observation, your point of view, or your family. We need to know what we can build a show around. Mm-hmm. It's not about how funny you are. You can, we've seen the least funniest guys out there get something because either, they structured a joke better, mm-hmm. or their material circled around their upbringing, and they can write a show. They can write a show around it. Mm-hmm. And from a business standpoint, I just feel like you said, the merch doesn't move out here for me. Just me personally. But mm-hmm. on the road, as soon as I walk on stage, my Your Story Matters shirts, when I come off stage, they be like, yo, when I saw that, the first thing I do is I hope he's selling that shirt because I want that shirt. Mm. So they, a lot of people, that's where you make your money at. Mm-hmm. Your bread and butter is your merch on the road. The clubs don't pay you shit. Mm. They should be paying us a lot more as features. Mm-hmm. And it sucks. But so I say anybody that features, if you're not bringing merch, you shouldn't be featuring because you're not making any money if that's the case. Mm-hmm.
But also, I just want to throw this in there real quick. It's cool to go on the road with somebody who allows you to have merch because everybody's not fortunate enough to. I've seen some things. I haven't personally witnessed it, but for real though, I mean, if the headline is selling merch, yeah, but I've been fortunate. Everybody that I've been with has been fairly cool, and been a blessing too. So
I've heard so many horror stories, and I feel like I definitely lucked up with the guys that brought me from the Matty Goldbergs to the Sam Comros to the Keons to the Tonys. All these guys are like, yo, you need to come here and you need to make money. They always encouraged me to bring merch. If I didn't bring merch, they'd be like, why aren't you bringing merch? You know what I'm saying? In some cases, sometimes if the headliner is doing really, really well, they might throw you a bonus. They might throw you a little bit of extra money because they know features don't get paid shit. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But a lot of headliners don't have the money to pay you. If they're not doing a door deal and they ain't selling out, so they're just getting whatever the club's paying them. So it might be only maybe a couple $1,000s. That's their expenses. That's everything for them. So they can't come out and give you an extra couple $100s or whatever the case may be. So yeah, you're right. These guys be like, yo, bring more merch. I'm done. These cities are sold out already that you're on. So whatever merch that you were going to bring, I would say you might want to double up on that merch because if every show is sold out, you might sell more money. You might sell more merch. Mm-hmm. So you think I thought that was life at first until I started asking friends and they were just like, my guy don't let me do anything. My guy tells me to dumb it down. My guy tells me to keep it clean. I can't even cuss when I'm on the road. Mm-hmm. But the headliner go up there and do a whole mother F the whole set. Mm-hmm. And I was like, shit. I was like, I didn't. And that's when I was hip to the game. I was like, damn, I definitely got lucky, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Nah, that's dope, man. That's dope. So, when people talk about Eddie Murphy, my attraction to Eddie Murphy's comedy came through movies. It really I couldn't get into Delirious. I couldn't catch it. It wasn't something that I could it was very difficult for me to connect to. But it's a trip because recently people they found these old Saturday Night Live clips and not the super young Eddie in Saturday Night Live, but after he was there for a while. And I'm watching these clips and I'm like, this dude was ridiculous, man. He was the comedic stuff he was doing was kind of like he did a Jesse Jackson. I saw a Jesse Jackson clip or whatever. And to me, I'm like a Richard Pryor, Red Fox fan. That, those are my, those are my goats, and then I like other comedians or whatever. And I was like, it was very interesting for me to see Eddie hold his own this is where, like, as a grown man, I can accept Eddie as the GOAT or one of the GOATs.
Yeah.
He had a sketch comedy that was to a level. He had a stand-up comedy that was to a level, and he became an incredible actor.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like, that's a lot, man. That's a lot. Because usually, like in the comedians, and like I told Jeremy once before, I went and saw a comedian. He was taping for a special, and I just got lost in the process because he said jokes over and over a couple times and whatnot. And so it kind of put like my taste for stand-up, like it was not, like I couldn't connect to it. And then Jeremy asked me to come out to a couple shows and whatnot, and I got to see the culture of stand-up, and then see comedians turn an audience around. And then I was like, oh, I see. You know what I'm saying? There is a very high skill set to this, to this comedy thing. So with you, who would you say your top comedic influence is?
I mean, definitely Eddie. Eddie's character work is second to none. Like it's crazy. Like a lot of people are doing Eddie Murphy impersonations on stage. They don't even know they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same with Richard Pryor. They're doing a version of Richard Pryor. Like a lot of people are doing, they're doing a white guy voice. A lot of times they're doing a version of their white guy voice. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, though. I mean, from a storytelling perspective, Bill Cosby, Richard Pryor, because their storytelling was just like second to none. But the guys that I watch now I'm actually a fan of watching is, like, I mean, Chappelle still, Bill Burr is, I feel like he's getting better. He keeps getting better. He's not aging comedically, in my personal opinion, at least downwardly. And even my own guys, you know, like Tony Baker, DC Irvin, those guys is like, I watch them as fans. You know what I'm saying? They're my peers for sure. All the guys are my peers now, but it's just like, I can sit back and watch them, be like, yo, that was brilliant. Or like, I wish I would have thought of something like that. That's fire. Absolutely. Like, and it's like, it's good to have that also in your crew, because it also pushes you. You know what I'm saying? At least for me, I don't want to be the least funniest guy in my crew. I know it's subjective, but still, you know. But I'll say now too, if I'm not there, I don't necessarily watch a whole bunch of comedy or as much comedy as I used to. Because sometimes it's just like watching specials now. Specials just don't feel as special as they were. I feel like you said, I feel like when you said you were watching the special and they had to keep going back and do the joke over. And I've seen that too. I went to special taping before and they had to like do the joke 3 or 4 times because they messed it up. And like, let me try it again, guys. Fake laugh, fake clap. Come on. It's just like, you know, that's just, I've shot like 2 kind of like miniature specials, and it's just like, that's not how it is. If I mess up a joke, we might not use that motherfucker. It's just, I'm just gonna have to move on and just come over. I got extra material. We're gonna go from there. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, it's just like, I know for me, I also too don't watch as much as I used to unless like I'm in the room. Because I don't know what it is. Live comedy is just different. It's just better to me. It
was very interesting to me because I gravitated to my comedy from, like, I heard Richard Pryor records when I was a kid and Red Fox records kind of like when I was a kid, but I gravitated to comedy through movies. And so it was kind of like, that was kind of how I saw people being funny, but I knew that comedy, like stand-up comedy, was going on, and it's just been truly amazing for me to see people who can't act and do stand-up. So I got a question for you. So through the pandemic, we kind of saw a rise of I'll say more people tested their hand at sketch comedy than we've ever seen, you know, during the pandemic and whatnot. Would you say, we'll say this, how many people have you seen that became good at sketch comedy that could also hold themselves as far as the stage, as far as stand-up comedy, because they're two totally different skill sets, for sure.
For sure. And even to that point, I think a lot of comedians, they think that it's not. They think like, oh, I'm funny on stage, so when I do a sketch, I should do 100 million because I'm funnier on stage than these guys that just do sketches. I'm starting to see a lot more guys on stage starting to figure out the sketch part of it now, because it goes both ways. Like I feel like the sketch guys and girls, like they were trying to figure out the stage aspect of it, and they were struggling, but some were getting it. But they had to hit that repetition. And I felt like we came into the sketch game a little, or at least the internet sketch game, kind of cocky. Like, man, if I can do it on stage, I can easily be funny for like, for 30 seconds. So I can write a little sketch real quick, and it's just like you think your on stage charisma is going to fully carry you, and it's like it's not all the time on sketch. Like I feel like the people that do sketch, that started on sketch, they understand the formula of how to get to their funny quicker, or how to engage the audience, whereas we don't know how to do that for online content out the gate. And so we're learning, we're picking, because even I'm still learning, you know what I'm saying? And I do things that I think is funny and they won't necessarily hit, and I just do all the sketch, like, I need to put out sketches, I'm just to put this bullshit out, and that shit would hit 30,000, and I'm just like, I don't get this. Why why is this happening this way? So it's like, I'm still figuring it out too, you know what I'm saying? But I think it's interesting, and I'm glad that we're going that route, because that's where the money is too. These sketch guys some of them are making some bread that's
Country Wayne, my favorite. Country Wayne is my favorite.
Man, we met him in the airport earlier this year, and he was just dropping jewels, and it was just like, dog, that's a guy that's, he got into stand-up and he figured it out, and I respect those guys. Him, and I never met DC, young DC Young Fly, but like, I haven't met him in person, but I heard from people that are close to him, or that are connected to him anyways, he put the work in. It was just like, and you got to respect that.
I did shows with him. It's been a while now, but yeah, no, he's legit. I mean, his approach is different, but sure, I seen him follow, not to this horn, but I seen him follow Dave Chappelle and Tiffany, and he did good for what was left. You know what I mean? He did really good. So yeah,
and he has his own voice. So it's like when they come to see him, it's like, I mean, I would say from what I heard, people was like, good luck following him, and it's his crowd. Good luck, because he's mastered that. You know what I'm saying? I think he's mastering his voice. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're all trying to do here. We're all trying to master our voice when we get on stage. And it's kind of like, it's like a Dragon Ball Z reference. You kind of trying to like live in Ultra Instinct when it comes to comedy. It's just like you kind of trying to live in that. Whether you're regular just having this conversation like we're having, or you just jump on stage, you don't gotta cut nothing on. It's just in you. You know what I'm saying? Some of those guys got it already.
How would you say you feel about like balancing your career with like your relationship, or just relationships in general over the years?
I mean, at first, I remember at first I had a girl I was with, and I was just like, I didn't want her to come to no shows. You know what I'm saying? I was like, nah, man, this the life, man. I'm living the life right now. I gotta do this over here. I don't need you to distract me. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like now, since my lady's in the industry, you know what I'm saying? So like, she completely understands. She understands that, like, even from the woman aspect, like, so I understand you're gonna have female fans. You're a handsome looking guy. I was like, oh, thank you. But it's like she understands that, like, I'm gonna be out late. She'll tell me like, yo, you can be out later. Like, you can go out tonight. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like she understands. I had the other girl that I used to be with. She was just like, why are you out past 10 o'clock? I don't understand this. You want another girl, aren't you? I'm just like, and this is why I can't have you around this, because you don't understand this.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
I knew your lady was a trooper, because last night in the gray room, Austin was talking reckless, and out the gate. Like,
well, here's the thing. Everything that Austin was saying, a lot of those same points I've said some of the same stuff to her. My girl is not like, he wasn't going to shake her because her and I have had some of those same conversations. And so, and sometimes she'll be on my side. She'll be like, no, you're right. I get that. And sometimes she'll be like, But that's the good thing about us too, is that she doesn't hate me because we had different points of view and vice versa. You know, we can have different points of view and still be like, well, I still love you. Like, I don't agree with that particular point, but you know.
I was like, yeah, the energy in this room. So like, and y'all know my I'm so vocal with my opinion. I'm like, you ain't dragging me into this. I was like, y'all can die.
One thing about my lady is she knows one, I'm extremely vocal, probably too vocal, and but she gets it, and you know, she laughs a lot of things, you know, so so she's not normally shocked by like stuff like that. When she hears that, she's like, she probably heard something similar from me, or she'd be like, or Keenan says something just as reckless before, even if it's not the same topic. She'd be like, I've heard reckless shit before. It's not shocking her, so she doesn't go in there like, I gotta get out of here. This is getting too much. You know what I'm saying? There was a few times he said something, and I looked at her like, and I've been telling you that, huh? I've been telling you the same thing. And she was just kind of like, here we go. Now you got somebody else on his side that get it. I'm just like,
Nah, that's dope. Austin has become one of my favorite comedians, man. He's it's hard for me to say that he doesn't sound intelligent and he doesn't make sense when he says some of the stuff he says. I mean, I know it's just you guys know him personally, but I just know him from a fan standpoint. But he poses some pretty decent questions. He's another comic that's like a forward-thinking comic. I'll say that. And it's funny because I was thinking about Austin when I asked you the question about sketch and whatnot, because I thought it was pretty dope. Like I got tricked. Well, I didn't get tricked, but I basically thought Ryan Davis was an internet personality that started doing comedy, but actually he's a comedian that's, you know, he had his one skill set and then he he got this other one and then he just did them both. But, you know, not knowing the history, you see him and you're just like, oh, this is the internet cat, whatever. But he's another funny and intelligent cat.
It's a thin line because the relationship I have with most of these, you know, internet influencers, because they started as stand-ups. So it's a thin line. You know, I let everybody tell their own story, but you know, I mean, to say, you know, it's like the chicken or the egg type of conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people are they've been doing stand-up for years. They're just better at sketch. You know what I mean? They're just that much better at it.
That happens too. And to me personally, I feel like when internet comedy first started popping for real, there was like a real beef. Cats were going at it, saying, you know, whatever about each other. But I feel like now that, to me, doesn't matter anymore. I don't necessarily be like, oh, this is an internet guy. Like, it's like, yo, we're over like 10, 11, 12 years removed from that. It's just like, now people understand, like, a lot of times both are going hand in hand, and both guys, you know, both sides are doing both. You know, they understand that you kind of need both. You can go on the road, especially if you got a big fan base, and if you're doing a door deal, you can probably come away with 50 grand a weekend. You know what I'm saying? If you're doing it the right way. So, like, you know, I don't even know who's the internet guys first now, because it's like, it doesn't really matter to me anyways. It's just like, you know, some guys don't want to do it. Some guys don't want to do stand-up. I'm like, yo, don't do it. It's just like, nowadays you don't have to. We used to say like, you have to do it. It's like the money that they're giving away for sketches and brand deals. I mean, it depends what you want in life. You might, if you want to limit yourself, yeah, you can keep it there. If you want to go out and expand yourself, I would say do that and do stand-up.
Question. So, man, you're a great guest. We kind of went far with it, man. We're not gonna be able to catch up to all the questions, but I got one good one for you that it's one that I ask everybody, and the reason why I ask everybody is because at some point I think I want to put a clip together and just compile answers of and then kind of like date the answers or whatever, like my little thing. But how do you see social progression going in the next 2 years? You know, coming out of the pandemic and everything, and now stuff is kind of open back up. You know, you're able to get out and stretch your legs and hit stages and do all the stuff that you weren't able to do for a while. And like how I think that we were like super, well, comedians, the funny thing about it, you know, me being privileged to Jeremy, comedians, I mean, y'all slowed down a little bit, but there was comedy going on, you know what I'm saying, a little bit during the pandemic. But where do you see social progression going in the next 2 years?
Man, it's tough because I feel like they want to keep people indoors, to be honest. I feel like they, you know, when I say they, I mean they. I think live anything is never going to fully die. I think, you know, I think a lot of comedians were scared at first, you know, like, oh man, you know, live comedy is going away. They're doing the Zoom stuff and blah, 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 blah. It's like, nah, people love live concerts. They love live performances. That will always live. But I do think we're going to start to see a lot more in like concerts that are being brought to us home. Like I think I just watched the Amazon Kendrick Lamar. I went to Kendrick Lamar's concert live, but then he had it again on Amazon in Paris or something like that. And I watched some of it again. And it's like, I think we're going to start getting more of that type of stuff because some people can't afford to get out. Some people are afraid to get out. Some people are doomed for the rest of their life in a sense for like, they're never going to get back. They're going to be, now they're extroverted for life and they don't have to necessarily get out. You can work from home, you can do all that type of stuff. And I think people kind of want people to work from home. It's probably cheaper, you know? So I think it's tough, man. I can see a lot more stuff, honestly, being virtual. That's what I personally think. I think stand-up will still be alive. I think people are not going to absorb stand-up the right way from watching a special. Because these, like I said, these specials are not as strong. You can go watch a special you're a comedian that you're like, I love this guy, but the special was let's go get some tickets to see him. And you'd be like, yo, they were way better in person. Mm-hmm. So I think the cream is going to rise to the top, to be honest, when it comes to like live performances. That's what I think personally is going to happen. The guys and girls that are really good, they're going to still be out here doing it. And the ones that, you know, yeah, that's
I get it. It's a very interesting point of view. I'm going to be a little more optimistic than you from the space that at the time the pandemic jumped off, you know, I was road managing a hip hop group, just shows after shows after shows after shows after shows. Pandemic hits, everything freezes up. All the people that I know that have budgets to spend money are nervous. They're not knowing what's going to happen. And then I'm hearing little whispers here and there about, you know, how things are going to happen and when. But it's interesting because I'll say Golden Voice and Live Nation, I don't know how they knew it, but they were like, we're going to test some stuff out, but like 2023 is when we're going to go hard. And I've noted, and so this was the conversation happening around like 2021, 2000, yeah, like around 2021. So I didn't see it happening realistically because I was like, man, you know, people have died, you know, have gotten sick, just all this, that, and other. But I think when they cracked the floodgate open a little bit to kind of test the market, to kind of see, you know, if people would come out or whatever, we get hit with all these like festivals on steroids where it goes from you having like, at least when music is concerned, from you having like a dope artist like every week, like you're guaranteed to have a dope artist performing every week in LA. Like you're gonna have one different genres of music, but there's gonna be someone who's dope performing.
Yeah.
To like these super festivals where you got like everybody, like, I mean, and when I say everybody, I mean like a parent, a grandparent damn near could bring their child and their grandchild and everybody be entertained, and it be within the realm of hip hop, R&B, and popular music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I say that to say, I'm a little more optimistic, man, on this people, because it's kind of like people were only shut in for like about a year and a couple of months, like hard shut in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like right now, they partying like it's 1999, man. I think if COVID came back the way it came back when it first started, because people missed that economic freedom, I think they just gonna be like, hey man, you know, some of us are gonna make it, some of us, it's whack.
I mean, I feel like cities like Atlanta and places in Texas showed us, it's just like, yo, we out here every single day outside and our numbers are lower than y'all. So that's y'all problem. But what I can see happening too is, even to your point, I can see a lot more kind of like speakeasy spots kind of coming up, like either like secret show. They're already happening now. Like Sip, you already seen them too. But it's just like people doing secret comedy shows.
Don't
and all that
Tell
stuff. Like,
is like going to be the biggest thing ever in comedy.
Right. And I think you're going to start to see a lot more of that coming out and stuff like that. So it's like you're going to see a lot more like little shows like that where people's like, oh, we only like 100 people can get in here. And it's like, you got to have a secret password. And it's like, it's going to go back to like, you know, remember back in the days, you know, probably back in the, you know, the 30s and 20s, like you go to those spots and you got to open a little shutter, but hey, what's the password? Blah, 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 blah. Come on in. It's going to kind of get back to some of that too, because, you know, you're going to have your festivals, like you said, but then you're going to have people doing, I mean, when the pandemic first hit, we were doing secret spots. You know what I'm saying?
I remember
like,
Jeremy was working.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe like a month, I kind of sat down, and then people were like, hey man, I got a little spot over here. You trying to get down? I'm like, I'll be over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you know, I can do a quick little 7 or 10 real quick. You know, my lady are germaphobe, so I got to make sure I'm masked up, but I'm good to go. But like, you know, that's what we were that's kind of how we were maneuvering, you know, still on the low. Cause like for us as stand-up comedians too, was like, when you're in this shit, you can't really stop for real. Like your brain can't stop. It's constantly working with jokes. It's constantly thinking of things. So like, that's how we were operating. It's just like, I gotta get this out somewhere. Even though I gotta do it at my little garage or whatever the case may be, we're gonna do something. So, I mean, I see what you're saying. I'm not necessarily saying it's not going to happen either way, to be honest. But I do see a lot more virtual things starting to come to fruition, because they're also investing into this technology. Zoom has changed the game for people.
Man, you know what I'm saying? Zoom has switched it up. But you know what though? I disagree with you to a point, but the entrepreneurial part of my mind kicked in, and I was like, man, all you have to do is throw a fat sponsor behind this virtual stuff that everything that you're talking about, without a sponsor being involved. That's what kind of had my mind like, But then me thinking about, oh man, okay, so Revolt gets into comedy, and then gets into comedy, and then they're like, oh, and then they're like, well, you know what? We know we're not going to make a whole bunch of money at first, but we're just going to pump money into this in order to make our thing the thing for that, and then we'll figure it out after we make our thing the thing. So, man, with that being said, you have any shows coming up that you want to talk about, or give your social media situation, or talk about your podcast real quick?
Oh yeah, man. This weekend, I don't know when if this is straight up live or it's going to drop soon, but this weekend,
we live.
October 27th through the 29th, I'll be in Houston, Texas. Houston, H-Town. We're gonna be out there with Tony Baker. I think almost all the shows are sold out except the Friday show. You know, so be out there. It's gonna be good. I think Cleveland, from the weekend of the 11th of November, be out there. And then you know, like I said, animation, you see the anime back there, you know what I'm saying? Anime podcast, Animation, S-H-U-N, Animation podcast. We just had Damon Jr. on. It was super dope. We got a lot of anime people on there, man. It's we talk about anime from a Black perspective, you know what I'm saying? We got a white guy on there for sure, but he's cool, man. Keenan Baker and everything, single thing, man. At Keenan Baker, KEENAN Baker on all platforms. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Yeah, thank y'all for having me, man. Sip, no, he's my guy, man. So
yeah, man.
You know, we've been through these trenches. We've done some of the shittiest shows together, some of the best shows together. We've done colleges together. We got hella stories, man. We could have just did a whole story podcast with stuff we've been through. So yeah, man, I appreciate having me on, bro.
Well, the whole time that you guys talked about anime, I just pictured Huey and his brother
Riley.
Yeah, Huey and Riley fighting and having the little kung fu scenes and whatnot. So everything you were talking about colors and this character and that character and the retro versus the contemporary, I just saw Huey and Riley fighting upstairs and maybe Granddad coming in with a belt, popping it, once or twice, or whatever, telling him to chill out. But nah, man, it's been a pleasure. So Jeremy, you got any shows coming up? Anything?
Let's see. Let's just say Laugh Factory Long Beach on the 28th and Hollywood Improv main room on the 30th. But more importantly, January 13th through the 15th, Memphis. That's where we're going to focus all of our attention. I need all my Memphis people to come out. I'm headlining, and yeah, thank you. I need that. So yeah,
that's congratulations, man.
Yeah, man. I need all my Memphis people to sell that out, or you'll never see me again.
You'll never see me. I'll never come to Memphis. I won't even drive through there. I don't know how far he is from there, but hit up the Bay too, Michael the Bay.
Oh really?
I know you him. Yeah.
I know he was out there. I'll be figuring out where people from. Like
I think he's kind of I don't know how far Nashville and Memphis are from each
Nashville's
other,
too far, bro. Trust me, I know some Nashville people. I mean, you can, but that's like saying come down from San Francisco or come down from Vegas. I mean, can they? Yeah, but it's up to
Yeah, never mind that.
Y'all funny. Well, y'all, man, I want to thank everybody. This has been another episode of Splendid Radio on PharcydeTV. Good looking out, Keenan. Always a pleasure, Jeremy. And I am going to check the 28th out, man. I'm not going. That's a dope little venue.
Right, long as
yeah, no, that's a dope venue, man. I'm gonna go and definitely get my money worth.
Yeah.
All right, man.